In the beginning, there was chaos, space, a void of nothingness that extended on for eternity. And then the Big Bang happened. Did I catch your attention? I sure hope I did, because you are not prepared for what you are in for. And it's a lot of chaos. Quite literally. This is the Greek Essays, a full collection of Greek myth in chronological order. And it didn't start with Zeus.
We'll get to Zeus, trust me.
The beginning of Greek mythology starts with chaos, the void, space, a female or genderless entity that started it all.
With the Big Bang.
You know, that's interesting to think about, because the Greeks didn't really know that the Big Bang Theory existed, and we didn't really know that the Big Bang Theory didn't exist until 1927, yet they still had an idea of what the Big Bang Theory is. So I just find it really interesting that the Greeks were just clearly ahead of their time, because no one thought of the Big Bang Theory until 1927. Just a thought. Sprang from chaos came various deities: Gaia, Earth, Tartarus, the underworld / the pit below, and Eros, desire / love. I would like to clarify that Eros is... There's multiple depictions of him. There's both the primordial one and the actual, son of Aphrodite one, and that's for another time. If y'all want me to do a full video on that, just comment or something. I don't know. Sources aren't exactly clear on if Erebus, darkness, and Nyx, night, were resulted from intercourse between Gaia and chaos, or if they just stemmed from chaos. Regardless, the union of Nyx and Erebus created Aether, light / upper air, and Hemera, day. You know, that creates a nice metaphor when you think about it. I'm not going to specify the metaphor, but... Metaphors aside, researching this, I had a slight epiphany.
Okay, why is... So, Nyx is a goddess, right? Erebus is a god, right? So, Nyx is the female, Erebus is the male. Why in the Aristophanes does it say... Firstly, Blackwing Nyx, night, the female, right, laid a germless egg in the bosom of the infinite deeps of Erebus, darkness. So, you're telling me that, I know man boobs exist, but what do you mean? What do you mean Nyx laid an egg? Is she a bird? And isn't Erebus supposed to be the man? I'm so confused. I'm so confused.
Nyx ended up creating more deities by herself. I'm gonna mispronounce so many names, just so y'all know. The deities were Moros, fate, Vicares, doom, Thanatos, death, Hypnos, sleep. I can really use that right now. Oniri, dreams, Euros, old age, Oisis, pain, Nemesis, revenge, Eris, strife, Apate, deceit, Velocities, sexual pleasure, Momos, blame, the Hesperides, yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. Daughters of the Evening. She made more stuff, but that's not listed. So, she's all great things.
I can see why the gods were terrified of her.
Well, Nyx was creating several deities. Gaia decided to create her own deities, too. Most notably, she made the atmosphere thing. You know, that big dome? Yeah, that is Uranus, aka the sky, aka her husband. She also created Pontos, the sea, you know, that thing that you go ride your little boat in. And the Urea, the mountains, you know, the
thing that you have to use dead bodies as landmarkers on.
Essentially, the world looks something like this. One thing I have to say is how... Okay, the Greeks were so smart.
They were so smart. And
You know, they described Gaia as having,
they would all get along.
looks, and then they still thought the Earth was flat.
That doesn't make sense!
Regardless if the Earth is flat or not, Gaia got down and dirty with her creations. Although I'm pretty sure it was Uranus wanting that, not her. I'll get into that in a minute. Yeah, Eros, he was on the clock 24/7. With Pontus, she did this later. I'll get into the other one in a minute. With Pontus, she created Phorcys, Eurabia, Nereus, Thalamus, and Ceto. And with Uranus, she had 18 children. The first 12 being the Titans, then the Cyclopses, and finally...
Oh God.
I'm terrified of whatever that is. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I guarantee you Uranus saw that thing and just went, "Oh, let me put it back!" Which is exactly what he did. Uranus was the definition of a shitty father, husband, and ruler. This guy hated his kids so much, he shoved them into the crevices of the earth. Essentially, Gaia's womb. To be fair, if I saw that thing, I'd put it back too. Gaia was, of course, very irritated and in pain. I mean, get your baby shoved back in you, yeah, you're gonna be in pain. So she devised a plan. The plan was to have one of her kids usurp Uranus. First, she made a sickle that was unbreakable. Then she went to all her kids one by one. They all refused. That was until she got to the youngest Titan, Kronos. Now that Gaia had her plan, it was time to take action. First, she had Kronos hide where he wouldn't be found. Then, she got into bed with Uranus one last time. Once in position, Kronos raised his sickle and boom!
dropped his dad's balls off.
He quite literally dethroned the guy. From that point on, Kronos declared himself king of everything and even got hitched to Rhea, who was his sister. That's kind of a common thing in mythology, but that's for another time. Of course, good times wouldn't last forever, as he would soon find out. As for Uranus, his manhood and the leftover blood would go on to create more deities, which is reserved for another time. Uranus himself, it's unknown. He might be dead, or withdrawn from the earth, or maybe...
What do you mean exiled to Italy?
Moral of the story, don't shove your children back in your wife. Even if they look like, . Thanks for watching, guys. This is kind of like my first, well, I made videos on this channel in the past, but I've just reinvented it. We're not gonna talk about those old videos. They're they're privated now. You're not gonna see them ever. But technically this is a for real channel. I'm showing my face and a whole bunch of other stuff. And I'd like to thank my boyfriend for giving me this first idea to talk about Greek mythology, because it's literally all I yap about.
I've read too much Percy Jackson. Anyway, bye. Okay, so they weren't high when they wrote that.